Although nothing revolutionary or unheard of, the Frunk in the Tesla Model 3 helps push its cargo space to the limits. But let's face it, number one, it's not very big, and number two, it's quite the awkward space, making it difficult to really utilize the space to its best capacity. I'm Frugal Tesla Guy, and I'm going to show you that what's in this bag right here is going to help solve that problem. Now, it's a well-known fact that you can put a suitcase like this in the frunk and you shouldn't have any problems with that. And for most people, that's just fine. But for people who like to push the cargo space of the Tesla Model 3 to its limits, such as myself, this is not the most practical use of the space. And what I mean by that is that the shape of the suitcase just doesn't complement the shape of the frunk. And as a result, you actually end up with a lot of wasted space. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So the first thing you'll notice is there's a bit of a wobble going on here. And there's a reason for that. The frunk actually isn't 100% level. Now the top part is, but then there's a ledge and it starts to slope down. So what happens is when you try to put it in here on that level side and you have it nice and kind of level and kind of perfectly butt up against this flat surface back here, you let go, gravity takes over and it goes down the slope. So one of the problems is that you have wasted space as a result. On the underside here, you have wasted space. When you put it on the level surface, on the underside up front, there's some wasted space. But it's not just the unlevel surface. It's also just a lot of the different shapes and bends and curves within the shape of the frunk. For example, up front, you've got this bit of an S-curve right here. Now that S-curve can create some problems when you're trying to pack things in there. You of course got the curves on either side here, and you'll also notice that on either side of the frunk, you have a well that also creates problems when it comes to packing. So again, when we put this back in here, you can see that there is some extra space, not a lot, but you could maybe put a small bag in there. But with all the other wasted space here, you really can't put much more inside of here. So wouldn't it be nice if you could go from this to this? Pretty cool, right? Now it comes from a company called Tesloid, and the two bags come in a carrying case like this. And although it may be a minor detail, it's actually nice because you reduce the risk of misplacing either one of them and you keep them all in one place. Taking them out of the bag, they are clearly made from a durable material and don't feel cheap at all. Now they have dual zippers, shoulder straps, which are also adjustable, and a pocket for your laptop, which fits my 15-inch MacBook Pro just perfectly. And although they look small, each bag has 2 cubic feet of space, which is a perfect size for a long weekend getaway. And you know me, I like to put all of my reviewed products to the test in the real world, so my wife and I planned a trip to one of our favorite spots, Ashland, Oregon. So we packed up our things and loaded up the bags in the frunk. And this is where we start, with how they fit in the frunk. So upon first glance, I have to say that I'm really impressed with how well these bags fill up the frunk space. I mean, as we all know, the frunk number one is not very big, and number two, it's an unusual shape. So it always feels like when I'm trying to fill up this space that it's difficult to really utilize all of the space. So these bags take care of that issue because once you fill them up and put them in here, they really do contour the shape of the frunk well. And all in all, I really do feel as though, for the most part, we're utilizing most of the frunk space. So as I mentioned, it does contour the shape of the front quite well, but of course, as we all know, nothing's perfect. You got a couple of spots right here. There's a little bit of extra space right here, but really, quite honestly, you couldn't really do much with that anyways. And I have noticed on both bags that there is a little bit of extra space in the upper right and upper left-hand corner. And what I've noticed, at least with this bag right here, you see how it's not completely full? So you actually could put some stuff here. And on top of that, you could actually fill the bag with more things to kind of contour that a little bit better. So really, it's not just a matter of these bags contouring the space, but it's how you actually pack the bags that's going to determine just how well they actually do contour the frunk. So when I unzip my bag, just to kind of show you, give you an idea, I'm going to go ahead and kind of open this up. I've got the laptop, by the way, in here. This is kind of a nice, convenient pocket that's in here. But that's kind of nice. I've got that in there. And you can see I've just got all my clothes. Now again, we're only doing a Friday and Saturday trip, but if we wanted to extend this on into Sunday, we could easily do that. So I actually ended up packing for the anticipation of 3 days. So I've got, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday trip in mind when I'm packed this bag, even though we're just doing Friday and Saturday, but you get the idea. This still fits well. We could probably put another couple of items of clothing right here if we needed to. And we can see that this really does fit that space quite well. I mean, it may be able to do a little better kind of around the contour here, but really quite honestly, I think that the overall design of these is pretty good. And on top of that, as I look at these, they have pretty good quality as well. So I think all in all that, it's just first impression that these bags so far are designed quite well and had some good thought behind them in that design. Now, it's not a long trip. It's only about 144 miles away, so we were able to make it on one charge with over 30% of the battery left once we got there. Before we checked into the hotel, we stopped for some lunch and also did a little shopping in downtown Ashland. While we were doing that, the car was quietly charging in the background, giving us over 100 miles of extra range. Next stop, Lithia Springs Resort, and unloading the bags was a breeze. After a little rest at the hotel, we headed over to a restaurant called Hearsay for an early dinner. Now, parked out front was this Model S. Not a deserving owner, if you ask me. Now, after a nice dinner, we took a stroll through Lithia Park. And we were once again able to plug in nearby for some free miles. The next morning, I loaded up the bags and we headed downtown once again to check out the local farmers market. And we couldn't go on a trip without checking out a new waterfall, even if it was a small one. Now, it was a short trip, but as I mentioned before, I packed as if I was staying another day, so I put in a few more extra bulky items like a sweater and an extra pair of jeans, just to see how much space the bags provided. And quite honestly, I was impressed because I had more than enough space for my things. So here's what I like about the bags. I like the fact that you can fit 2 bags that are big enough for a long weekend getaway. I like how well they're designed, from the laptop storage to the adjustable shoulder straps. I also like that each bag can be used as a carry-on luggage for airline flights. Now, what I don't like is the unusual shape of the bags, because it takes some finesse to properly pack them and use all of the space. However, this is not Tesloid's fault by any stretch of the imagination. These bags were designed to fit the unique shape of the Frunk, and it's that unique shape that makes packing a little more challenging. Now on that note, the bags didn't feel awkward at all while carrying them, either with the handle or the shoulder strap. So now you might be asking, okay, how much? Well, for both bags and the carrying case, it's $99. But if you use my promo code FTG10, you'll get 10% off that price. So is it worth it? Well, for my needs, yes. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes I really push the cargo space to its limits, and it's important to be able to utilize all of the space in the Model 3. Now what I've noticed is because of the odd shape of the frunk, it always feels like there's just a better way to load things into it, and I find myself playing a game of Tetris. These bags make it that much easier for me, and that's $99 plus 10% off. That's well spent in my opinion. It's also a perfect solution for people with OCD. The bags fit well within the space with nice clean lines. However, if you're perfectly content with being able to fit one small suitcase in the frunk and never really pack the car to its limits, then maybe these bags aren't for you. That's up for you to decide. In conclusion, the Tesla Model 3 Frunk Luggage Set by Tesloid is a perfect solution for those looking to make the most out of the space the frunk has to offer. No more fumbling around with your things trying to figure out how to pack them in the awkwardly shaped frunk. Well, that's it for this video. I'd love to know what you think of this luggage set. And of course, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and stay positively charged.